Hello all, hope your warship season is going well. I was finally able to unlock the second troop damage after 7 years, and with its help my attacks got quite a bit faster and I was able to get to rank 25. And just always bonus keys, so let's go ahead and collect them. In terms of what I have unlocked since the previous days, is essentially focusing on the 7-year tech. I think in my previous video I was probably around the heavy chopper stage. I went ahead, picked up the bottom path to 7-year, so that is via the multi-node rather than barrage, which I think in hindsight is probably a mistake on my part. I think I should have gone barrage to help out with the offense, because the third shock launcher hasn't really helped much. The good seeker players still get through, so it's only probably helping out a little bit, but probably barrage would have helped me out way more. Obviously saving up for 7-year was quite a lot of days and keys, but after getting that it was thankfully quick unlocks for GPE node as well as the troop damage. That's always helpful. I did not backfill anything yet, but I think now that I'm getting closer to the end of the tree, I will start to do that. I think barrage is probably still a good unlock, but at the moment my hits are quite okay, to be honest. That's my defense, which is a bit lacking because I don't really have any multi-node, so it's just a very standard sort of a build. And I will need to consider what I end up unlocking. So even with troop damage, it wasn't that it was quite easy. I definitely lost out to a few players on the way. Try the C, who's at legendary 2. Another legendary player, Anhinka, who was at rank 23, and I did mess up on this hit for sure. So in terms of what I am doing against the opponents, I'll just try to go through those replays. So this was a 6ER. I was lucky enough to get a few of these today. And generally, if I don't mess up, I should win on time ideally, even if it's just by a few seconds. I'm using the same sort of approach that I was doing earlier at 6ER. The only difference is now I have the extra troop damage as well as the extra GB, so I can shock quite a lot more. The buildings are going down way quicker with the bombers shooting them down, etc. And you can get a nice enough time against the 6ER opponents. The only worrying opponents against 6ER are the ones with Bullet Seeker, because they can still get down the 7ER base quicker than I can do with bombers. Just a slow, simple spread hit. Just trying to get it done rather than trying to get too creative on the 6ERs. And then let's look at a few of the 7ER replays as well. So I started using laser ranges again at 7ER now that I have the troop damage unlocked. To be honest, I think they're doing quite a good job. Sometimes I do mix up my troops in terms of using bombers, using a boat of seekers here and there. I'm trying to see what works best on each of the different layouts, because there's quite a few layouts and I just need to figure out what is the best way to hit each and every layout, because the same thing doesn't work every single time. And the few layouts in which this hit is very poor, it just doesn't work out. Oh, here I got a nice enough split, although my right side flank is a bit weak. So all I was hoping for that the opponent would be a bit slower. And once that final layer goes down, I'm flaring a bit up top so that the troops are starting to target the engine room directly, or at least the bulk of them are. And down goes the engine room. And against Ruya, this was again unlucky 6ER opponent. I won by a few seconds, but nothing too special about the 6ER hits at the moment, at least. Just managing the hits with my 4 boat of bombers, 3 boats of heavy choppers, and 1 boat of Scorcher. think I still prefer the Scorcher where the critter launchers are. I don't know whether it truly helps or not, but it seemed to work for me the last week, so I've just stuck to that sort of a troop loadout against 6 ERs. Nice and simple. Cleaning up of the ERs. And then back to 7 ER gameplay. So in this one, I'm going to attempt to use a board of Seekers. I'm also throwing a board of Bombers on the far right so that they can start to work on this middle ER while the Laser Rangers are getting the left ER. Very, very bad critter throw by me. I meant to get this boom mine, but completely missed it. But luckily, the Seekers from the critter launcher, they got it for me instead. So sometimes the critter launchers do work in our favor. And then this board of Seeker is taking down the right side ER while the main troops are focusing on the top left. And it's just a case of managing the gunboat, because with the Laser Rangers, the Sky Shield isn't too much of a problem, to be honest, because a lot of the troops can still hit past it. They can kill off the shock launcher and any defenses behind it. Then against Hurricane, this one is another bomber and a seeker hit, which I got off from Stoneheart. He had shown how to do this, and I did not do a great job, so sorry about that, Stone, but try to at least get the base done in a decent amount of time. There's a deployment of a single board of bombers to take down the bottom ER, while the upper troops are trying to get through the upper side of the base, and a board of Seekers is going to take down this bottom bit of the ER on the far left side. Once the Sky Shield goes down, that's when I can start to flare, but by that time the other ER is also done, so it was good timing and I didn't have to worry about reflaring to kill the other ER. And then for my boss fight to 24, I actually thought that I would have lost this hit because I didn't do a very good time and my troops didn't get a very, very good split. But this was more luck rather than skill on my part. Sometimes the replays do take a bit of time to get started. I don't really know what the supercell coding is behind this. Kawan was starting to go everywhere, so I had to do another second win to get some troops on the board, which was probably not great on my part and did cost me a bit of time as well, and very nearly caused me to lose out on this hit as well. After that, just letting the troops funnel naturally, they will end up splitting because of the two parts of the buildings that you have. I was hoping for a few more troops to go down towards the right side, but unfortunately no one really did. All I had was a really damaged heavy chopper and a single bomber who was killed by the critters from the critter launcher. But luckily the opponent was slightly slower than I was, and I was able to flare the final ER and use a shock to get it down. Think in terms of what I'll be doing next, I do get another chest in just over an hour, so that will be 65 keys. I really wanted to get both Barrage and DBD, but it looks like I'll need to make a choice on that, so I'm not too sure which way I'll go. I think the remainder of the tech tree is quite a lot of keys, which I think I'll spend later on. I think I'll do a bit of backfilling and try to get a few multi-nodes and get more defenses on board, rather than trying to push ahead for the dome cannon and the other proto as well, and the mine node. As there's still multi-nodes where you can get mortars, you can get boom cannon, another set of mortars and flamethrowers. It's not really that great, but maybe this one is quite attractive with 2 machine guns. That would definitely help out against seeker hits, against rocket chopper hits, probably add a few more delays to the bombers as well. I'm also very tempted in getting bullet. It's a real shame that artillery doesn't connect to bullet, otherwise I would have definitely gone for bullet next and then artillery, I think. But those are the choices I think which all of us will need to make quite soon. In terms of the leaderboard, I think they're quite way ahead of me, so I don't think I'll be very competitive against them. Most of the top folks are already close to like to the 30 or above. I think number 5 will probably get there soon today. Plus a lot of other legendary players who are chasing them, so it will be interesting to see how the season actually shapes up. I'm probably still in the top 50, which isn't too bad, but let's see how it finishes with the end of the season. The task force is doing really well. We do have a lot of legendary players, which is fantastic. And hopefully a few more will start to make their way up towards legendary tier soon. GB board always looks nice to me because I usually end up being on top. But definitely very stiff competition from Mike, from Raz, and Dr. B. That's a wrap for today, folks. Hope you found this useful. I'll try to get a few more videos out based upon how well the tech is working out for me and whether those are actual push points or not. But good luck and see you on the battlefield.